And welcome back to Bayou Time. Again, I'm Jason Dagate, and we pass along our condolences to the family of Louis St. Martin. If you'd like to speak on that subject, pass along your condolences or your thanks to the family, feel free to do so, 879-1231. Also, in a local story today, we've talked about it at length here on Bayou Time, the death of Jory Learett in Thibodaux. You're all familiar with the facts. We don't need to get into the facts of the situation regarding his death, but the funeral was held today, and Jason Sernier and our cameras went out there to cover that event, and here's a look at today's top stories.
At St. Genevieve Catholic Church in Thibodaux, the residents of the city of Thibodaux showed their support and solace to the family of Jory Learett, who was brutally murdered last week. Family and friends showed their emotions on the loss of Jory.
He was a great conversator, even though he couldn't speak back to me, then, I knew he was listening. He was a great person to talk to and be with, be around. You could have been having the worst day and he'll bring you back up with his smile. It's amazing, to see so many people come together and see that so many people care for this child. It's truly amazing to see this, and it's heartwarming to see so many people care.
The family of Jeremiah Wright, the boy's father, was also in attendance at Tuesday's services to show their support for their grandson.
He's just an innocent child, he don't know what's going on. But he could learn if you have patience to teach him and all what's going on in life and all. I do not think it's right the way the baby had died, because it's, like I say, he's just a baby. He deserves to live a full, healthy life and all. It's a good deal to have people to help them out and all, because in time of crisis, that's when you need to pull together, not fall apart and all that with everybody.
Thibodaux Police Chief Scott Silveri hopes now the community can start to heal.
Today we thought it was critical that we come out and we participate in the Sunday night. We're at the candlelight vigil, just part of the healing process for the community. And being that the Thibodaux Police Department, the City of Thibodaux, and Mayor S.J. have been just so intimately involved in the process that it was important that we come out and we show our respects to the family, that we also help in the grieve and mourning process of Jory. So this morning, that's what we're out here to show our respects.
Later this week, a grand jury is expected to hear the case against Jeremiah Wright, who is accused of murdering Jory. Wright is currently booked on the charge of first-degree murder in the Lafourche Parish Detention Center. In business news, Terrebonne's new TITA director speaks before the Houma Terrebonne Chamber of Commerce's luncheon.
We're setting the stage now for our expectations and economic development for the next 6 months and beyond. We're going to hit the ground running as we already have, and we've got a lot to do and a lot of mountains to climb, but we'll get there. But today was about setting the stage and the expectations, and we placed the bar very high, and that was done deliberately.
In more business news, the federal co-chair of the Delta Regional Authority visits the area on Tuesday to meet with local businesses and offer help to area businesses.
Well, we're here in Houma today just talking about creating jobs through small businesses. We recognize that over 97% of the state's employers in Louisiana is small businesses. Small businesses are the backbone of the Delta's economy and the nation's economy, and we're trying through our partnerships at the Economic Development Administration and USDA Rural Development. We're here in town having discussions with small businesses to see how we can help them even more.
One local agency helping the authority is South Central Planning and Development.
We're one of their local liaisons and intermediaries, and trying to package all the information up to get it to DRA so that they can effectively make a decision to be able to get the funds necessary to public works improvements and business development. It's all about creating jobs.
Okay. All right, there you have it. That's a look at the stories from around the area. 879-1231 if you'd like to get involved. We'll keep it rolling at this point in time. 879-1231. 879-1231 if you would like to get involved. As you can see, we're taping live on Tuesday night, 6 to 8 p.m. Also, leading the news story, of course, the passing of Louis St. Martin, local attorney and philanthropist here in the Houma Terrebonne area, passed after his single-engine plane crashed in Oregon. He just purchased a plane and was on his way home, and he passed. And our thoughts and sympathies go out to he and his family. With that, phone lines are open, 879-1231. If you would like to discuss that topic or any other topic, feel free to do so. Let's go to the phone lines at this point in time. Hello, welcome to Bayou Time.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah.
Paul Pastor here.
Hi.
I'd like to send my condolences out to the St. Martin family. I knew Louis. I know Mike. I knew that daddy, Mr. H.P. He was a great man, and you know, it's hard to think what this parish would do without the St. Martin family. Just looking at the baby that got murdered, what they do for kids that are being neglected.
Yeah.
They're a big supporter of protecting kids, and it's an irony that we had to lose Louis this week at the same time that we had 2 incidents with children that's being either murdered or exploited.
You're right, and
I just wanted to say my condolences to the whole family, and that he'd be greatly missed.
He sure will.
And by everyone, but it's hard when a parish loses somebody like this that's been a supporter and basically one of the backbones of this parish. And I'd just like to tell the whole family that prayers are going out to them. So I'll close with that.
Well, thank you, Mr. Arthur. We appreciate the call, and I'm sure the family does as well. And as he mentioned, you know, gave a lot to charitable organizations, started the Lewis Infant Center, which is a center that helps abused and neglect children, and you know, a lot of irony surrounding the death of Louis St. Martin, being that, you know, ultimately he passed as a result of a plane crash, and we know he was an avid pilot and flyer, and did a lot to help the children in his community. And with everything going on, as Mr. Arthur just said, kind of ironic that it all comes to a head at this point in time. 879-1231 if you would like to get involved. Hello, welcome to the program. Thank you for calling.
Yes. Am I on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, I want to extend my condolences to all the families that were affected in these last 2 weeks. But I want to change the subject for 1 second. When I read the paper Saturday, the local paper, I was appalled at how one of the things that the federal government was thinking about trimming the budget, and that was to cut the retirement of our military retirees. I'm a veteran. I was lucky. I served in between the Vietnam War and the Korean War.
Okay.
I served with a lot of guys who were in the Korean War and World War II, and I know what they went through. And to cut those people's retirement, if we're going to cut some retirement, let's cut some retirement of the people that are sitting in Washington. A congressman serves for 2 years. He draws his salary for the rest of his life.
You're right.
They're sitting in Washington, well protected. Our boys are sitting in Iraq and Vietnam right now, defending us so we can have all these rights. That's not the place to cut. The place to cut is in Washington, not to these poor people who some of them gave their lives, and others who have come back wounded and cannot get jobs, cannot do this, cannot do that. This is the wrong place to cut. I was appalled when I read that. I was so mad, but I've kind of calmed down a little bit.
Well, I can understand your frustration. Now, that was just a proposed measure, correct?
Right. It was a proposed measure. But why think that way? Think about the people in our congressmen and our senators. Let's cut their retirement. Some of these people are getting millions of retirement after they get out of the Senate office.
Yeah, they're getting that, and they're getting health insurance as well.
They get everything.
Yep.
And the people.
And you're right. It's not if you've been there a certain number of years. In other words, like if you go work for a normal company and you've been there for 10 years, 20 years, or something. You're absolutely correct. At least my understanding is once you're elected, you go there and you serve your 2 years. If you're just a member of the House of Representatives, and you're vested.
You're vested for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And Were you ever endangered in those 2 years by people shooting at you? No. But these guys who went to Vietnam, to Korea, who are in Saudi Arabia and all of the Arab countries, if they serve for 20 years, they need a real good retirement. The people in Washington are getting all the gravy. And just like you said, that the people who become a congressman for 2 years and are vested for the rest of their life, my God, who voted on that? The people themselves. We never voted on that.
Yep. Well stated. Thank you, and thank you for your service as well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the call.
Okay. 879-1231 if you'd like to get involved. Obviously, a lot of topics we can discuss on a local level with all the bad news we have to report. But if you would like to, turn the page, if you will, and discuss another issue, feel free to do so as well. 879-1231. Let's take the next phone call. Hello, welcome to Bayou Time.
Hi, Jason. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm fine. I would like to comment on a statement that was made yesterday.
Okay.
About the man that molested the little boy at Burger King.
All right.
They said the man had no prior record. That's not true. This same man molested a 17-year-old boy last year in July.
Is he a registered sex offender?
I don't know.
Okay.
The young man was traumatized. He had a nervous breakdown.
So I guess maybe somebody meant he had no prior record and that he has no prior convictions.
But at that time, they say he had no prior record.
Okay.
So now with the little boy at Burger King, they're saying the man has no prior record. So how can he have no prior record if he molested a child last year?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know ultimately if that case was resolved or if it resulted in him.
They let the man went. Nothing was done about it. They swept it under the rug. Now he done molested again. So what do they want him to do? Kill some child before they arrest him? You know, because eventually that's what's going to happen. And when this 17-year-old boy was molested, the police needed a detective look for the man. The boy daddy had to find the man. And he followed the man on a bicycle to the police restaurant where he worked at. And then he called the police. This young boy picked him out of a lineup. And they told the family that this man had no prior record. And this is what they're telling the 12-year-old family. He has no prior record. So like I say, what they're waiting for him to kill some young child before they look into it and arrest him? Because that's what's going to happen.
Well, I think after it was reported at Burger King, the arrest happened fairly quickly, as I understand. In other words, he wasn't running the streets for a long period of time. But I can understand your frustration if in fact he does have a prior record. But when people use the term prior record, especially in law enforcement backgrounds, if you will, that usually means prior arrest or prior convictions. Now, maybe that's semantics. It may mean one thing to me, being that I'm, an attorney. It may mean another thing to you. I can certainly see where you saying, well, if there was a record of it, in other words, if somebody made a complaint against him, then yeah. But we don't know, at least I don't know what ultimately those facts of that prior situation was. Because let's be honest, cases that involve allegations of molestation of children, oftentimes there are no physical evidence whatsoever. They're very hard cases to prosecute. And so speaking from experience from that end, I don't know what the results of the facts of that case were, but I can understand one's frustration if it did happen again. But again, I can't make that statement because I don't know if it did.
Well, I hope this 12-year-old child's family push it and push it and push it if they got to go to the Supreme Court with it, because this man needs to be taken off the street because he's going to do it again.
All right.
And then we might end up with another murdered child on our hands, which we don't need.
Thank you very much for your call.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Okay.
Okay, if you would like to comment, again, you know, we know that there are a lot of, not to say that her comments or rumors or fiction in any way. We don't know one way or the other, and at least I don't. So we want to make sure everything's preference, and we want to make sure we try to stick to the facts of the situation. And we don't know all the facts, and we won't know all the facts until there's a trial. And we certainly don't want to do anything on this television show that would cause any damage to the prosecution of the case as it goes forward, and the removing of the case or anything of that nature. So if you want to make your comments regarding, you know, the situation and how you feel about it, that's one thing. But we want to make sure we don't begin with rumors and speculation on what we've heard about a particular case. But with that, we'll go to the next caller, 879-1231. Hello, welcome to Bayou Time.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
I'd like to know what's happening with the new law that's being put out for the bath salts.
Okay.
We don't hear anything more about it.
Well, the law has already been put into place, okay? And in order for us to have our legislature tweak it even more, we have to wait till they go back into session. They won't be going back into session for some time now, and it won't be until after these next elections, these fall elections, go forth. So, you know, normally they put these laws into place whenever they go into session. And so there won't be any furtherance of the law, but it has been made illegal. And but we are aware that different companies are tweaking the chemicals, if you will.
I can't see why they wouldn't allow the federal government to do anything about this.
Well, that's exactly what needs to happen, and that's a good point you make. The federal government does need to come in, step in, and start making this stuff illegal. Because what's happening is, even though if we here in Louisiana make it illegal, let's say in Mississippi, they don't. Well, we know we're going to have people that are going to go across the borders and buy it over there in Mississippi or Texas or Arkansas, and then come back and distribute it. That's a problem. I agree with you. That's a problem. That's why all we can do right now as parents and as citizens is try to put the information out there, which Martin has done, and he should be commended upon it. You know, he's brought in law enforcement officers, he's brought in district attorneys, he's brought in doctors to talk about the harmful effects these drugs have. And because even though they may be tweaked and technically legal, they have some very damaging effects on the human brain, and oftentimes it's worse, or 10 times as worse than the actual drug themselves.
Well, that's another way of murdering our children. That's the way I feel about it. And are they, the law enforcement, are they trying to check out places before the law is passed?
Well, the law has been passed, but yes, they're checking stores.
Because I know of one.
Okay. Well, if you know of one, the best thing you can do at this point in time, whatever jurisdiction, whatever parish that store is located in, call that local sheriff's office.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Well,
thank you for the call.
Okay, dear.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. 879-1231 if you'd like to get involved. We have one line open at this point in time if you would like to join us. We do need to take a short break, and we ask those of you who are on hold to please hold patiently through the break, and we'll get to you right after these messages.